Member Orlando?
Yes, can you hear me?
Can hear you well. We're going to get started in about 6 minutes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Well, good evening. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Chandler City Council meeting on Thursday, May 9th to order. So, City Clerk, please take the roll.
Mayor Hartke,
Here.
Vice Mayor Rowe,
Here.
Councilmember Stewart,
Here.
Councilmember Simons,
Here.
Councilmember Wong,
Here.
Councilmember Lopez,
Here.
and Councilmember Orlando.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Bruce Lundquist from Faith Church of the Valley to lead us in an invocation, and then Jeremy McClymans, council member, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Bruce, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's bow our heads. Our dear Lord, heaven and earth are full of your glory, almighty, eternal, most holy God. You deserve the praise of every creature. You are worthy of worship and honor and love. Creator, sustainer, redeemer, renewer, perfect in wisdom and might, you reign supreme beyond time and space, in beauty and splendor and light. We adore you, our God. We praise your great name. We offer you our worship through Jesus Christ, who, because of his life, death, and resurrection, is the center, the cause, and the object of our praise. We ask you, dear Lord, that you may be present here tonight and guide the City Council as they represent the citizens of Chandler. Give them wisdom and help them as they make decisions. We also pray for blessings on the people of Chandler, Arizona. And we pray this in the name of our God and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. Lundquist, and thank you, Councilmember McClymans. Thank you, Vice Mayor, for leading our meeting on Monday, and I had certainly did a good job, and thank you for stepping up.
You're welcome, Mayor. I appreciated the opportunity, and I yield the gavel back to you, sir.
Council, we've got a consent agenda in front of us with a couple action items at the end. I do want to point out that item number 20, our presiding city magistrate, who we will be voting on, David Fuller, is in the audience. So David, thank you for being here tonight, and we're excited about this contract. So at this point, I would entertain a motion.
Mayor?
Councilmember Orlando.
Mayor, thank you. I got a question for staff on item 6. As
Okay.
you know, there has been an adjacent landowner that has contacted staff over the last few days. I know you've engaged with individuals as well as I and some other council members. Could staff give us an update on that issue, and if that individual, the adjacent landowner, has been satisfied with what's going to take place on item 6?
City manager?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to let Kevin Mayo address that. He's spoken to the individual himself. So.
All right, Mr. Mayo.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I did have 2 phone conversations with Mr. Farmer. He represents his mother, the property owner, to the south. I wanted to kind of discuss Appleby Road improvements and kind of what happens with his mom's property in terms of access and things like that. We had a long conversation about Appleby road improvements, the scale of those improvements, traffic impact studies, and things like that. In the end, I believe council saw the exhibit that I had sent to Mr. Farmer to show him in the interim condition of the north half, the entire north half of Appleby Road being improved all the way from Arizona Avenue to the tracks, not just including the La Costera frontage parcel. Sent that to him at the end of the day yesterday and have not heard a response from him. So I assume that he was satisfied with the exhibit and answers that I had given him last night.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Orlando, any further questions on this?
Yeah, just wanted to make sure. So I understand we haven't heard from him, so hopefully that's good news. the improvement on the southern half?
If I understand the question correctly, who would be responsible for the southern half of Appleby Road improvements? Is that the question?
Yes.
It would ultimately be that property owner, his mother's property, when that comes in to develop. Discussed that with him. He had asked about making it a part of requirement of, say, this zoning case, and had explained to him that statutorily, the ability to exact that type of improvement ends kind of at the center line of the street, and that it's the adjacent right-of-way that can be exacted and improved, just like what is being done on the zoning case. So I passed that information along to him.
Okay. Thank you, staff. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Kevin.
Welcome.
Council, what's your pleasure? Vice Mayor Rowe.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we pass the consent agenda for Thursday, May 9th, items number 1 through 20 as listed. That's my motion.
All right, and two of those are action items that we will be revisiting on 18 and 19. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Wong. Any discussion? All right. Seeing no discussion, council, please vote.
Councilmember Orlando?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you, council. Item number 18, resolution number 5243, seeks to amend the citywide fee schedule relating to community services, development services, and public works and utility departments. I'd like to invite Dawn Lang, Management Services Director, for a staff presentation.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Okay, so tonight before you is Resolution 5243, as you said, amending the citywide fee schedule. And each year, departments review their fees to determine if any updates are necessary that require modifying, eliminating, or adding a new fee. Updates may be necessary to reflect an increased cost of service provided or a need to establish fees for new or enhanced services or facilities. During fiscal year 2018-19, fee changes were identified and reviewed as part of the fiscal year 19-20 budget process. The recommended fees to be discussed tonight would be effective at the beginning of fiscal year 19-20 or July 1st, 2019. So I think I'm getting older. The writing is actually hard to see. I apologize. Oh, goodness. Okay, so this is a separate process. Oh, well, I might take you up on that. So real quickly, just to give a brief explanation or overview on the characteristics of our fee, why we have a separate fee schedule from that we collect and that goes into general fund. Our fees are assessed for the use of facilities or services benefiting specific groups. Fees reflect recovery of cost to provide the service unless the market demands a lower rate, and the authority to charge the fee must exist in the city code. So a separate process is followed that is noted within City Code Section 2-17, and it requires that all recommended new or modified fees be summarized in the summary of proposed new or modified fees, which we have prepared and has been on our city's website for over 60 days. That was posted February 22nd, 2019. Additionally, a notice of intention to amend the citywide fee schedule was published in the Arizona Republic as well as through social media to inform the public of the proposed fee changes to be discussed tonight as an action item to allow for public comment. Once the new or modified fees are approved by Mayor and Council, the citywide fee schedule will be updated. The City of Chandler is very transparent in ensuring that the public can easily find any fee that the city charges. The main page of chandleraz.gov has a link to fees, which includes the citywide fee schedule, as well as those fees not reflected in that schedule that are approved under a completely separate process as dictated by Arizona revised statutes, such as impact fees and utility rates. So the departments that are that are proposing fees, you'll notice there are 4 departments listed here. Our current citywide fee schedule is under the current, or I guess the old structure. There's been a reorganization, and so tonight, so that we have the director that knows the fees, we have actually listed the departments here under the new structure. What we are proposing then is that once these fees are reviewed, our law department is currently working on an ordinance that will add the new department, and we would anticipate then rearranging the citywide fee schedule so that the fees are reflected under the new structure. But tonight, why we have cultural development on here is this is our new structure, and I'm going to ask that Kim Moyers come forward and discuss the fees being proposed.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. The proposed museum fees establishes rental fees for the Chandler Museum to rent 4 areas within the museum, including the agave, the sororo, the living room, and the sunken room or the historic courtyard. The rental rates for the Chandler resident will range from $40 to $125 an hour based on the room size and the equipment usage. There is an increase in hourly fees for non-residents, with the rates ranging from $54 to $169 an hour, and a commercial usage fee of $68 to $188 an hour. There is a 50% discount for Chandler not-profit groups, and the proposed fees also include a setup fee of $25 per hour for residents. These fees were compared to other museum spaces throughout the valley and are consistent with the fees from the recreation rooms throughout the city of Chandler in similar size and amenities.
I believe we've captured our city attorney in that slide as well.
So next, I'd like to ask our acting Community Services Director, Stephen Ernott, to come forward and talk about the community services fees.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you. So for a couple of new or some changes to the proposed recreation fees. So for the first fee is related to the family annual pass for Tumbleweed Recreation Center. So previously, the family annual pass only accommodated 2 adults and up to 4 dependents with no option for additional dependents. This change will allow customers to add dependents beyond the included 4 dependents at a cost of $50 per year per dependent for residents and $60 for non-residents. So basically giving them an option in order to add, if this family's larger than the 6, the 2 adults and 4 children, to be able to add additional dependents onto that. Our second one is an increase to the class formula for certain community recreation programs. If Mayor and Council will recall, we discussed this at the all-day budget briefing last month. This increase will provide 100% revenue offset to a decision package funding a wage increase for temporary staffing agency instructors in order to cover the state minimum wage increase and to assist with hiring and retaining quality recreation program instructors at a more competitive hourly rate. Ultimately, it will result in a slight increase for customers, somewhere less than $1 per class, basically, per class that they're attending, per program, I should say, not per class. Next, we have fee deletions. So these are, first we have proposed removing the damage and cleanup deposits when customers are renting facilities such as a senior center, community center, and park pavilions. This fee is no longer being used because the storage of credit card numbers does not meet payment card industry compliance standards. We are also proposing removing the athletic field deposit for the same reason that it does not comply with PCI compliance standards. The next 3, the fun packs, volleyballs, and nature packs, are being proposed for deletion simply because they've not been used for over 5 years, so just in updating the fee schedule. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
So I have a question. How do we collect, if someone has damaged a field or a space? What is our avenue for them, repair, cleaning, et cetera?
Yeah, so Mayor, so we would have that information as far as still the reservation of the facility. So if there was significant damage that the city wanted to pursue, we would have that information on the individuals or the group that was renting it. And we would take action at that point, depending on the amount, the severity of the damage, and deciding based on what's being done, what needs to be done, we would take action through that process.
So we just would not be able to do it proactively, but we could follow up. Okay,
Correct.
thank you. Council, any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next I'd like to ask Derek Horn, the Director of Development Services, to come forward.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have one fee that we're proposing from Development Services, but there's also the next one I'll talk about as well, which is listed in Public Works and Utilities, but it actually comes out of our shop, so we actually have two. The first one I'll talk about is the proposed administrative review fee. This is for staff review for modification of previously approved development plans. Currently, we charge no fee for this service, and it is becoming a substantial part of our workload. So far this year, about 15 to 20%. So we project we'll do about 60 of these reviews this calendar year. Each one takes an average of about 5 hours plus to process the application. So the new proposed fees are actually in two parts. The first one is $275 for new construction and larger buildings on a approved site plan, but within the approved maximum square footage. Then $115 for minor changes, which would be for small building additions, color and material changes, elevation changes, and canopies, et cetera. So that's the first fee.
Yeah.
Vice Mayor.
Just one question about the changes. Is that per change?
But Mayor, Vice Mayor, this is actually per plan submitted. So one plan can have a change or can have several changes within the same plan, but it's one application.
Fee?
One fee,
Per
one
change.
application.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Continue.
Thank you. The next one is actually a fee modification. This is a modification for a fee that we charge private utilities and telecommunications providers that have conduits or cables in our right-of-way. It was set a number of years ago at $2.03 per linear foot, and there was also an annual adjustment built into the fee schedule as per the Consumer Price Index, but it was also capped at 3.8% per year. So what we're doing, or what we're proposing, is to update the fee in the fee schedule to the current, which would be $2.27. And also we're adding new language to establish the calendar year 2019 as the baseline. This base fee and the annual adjustments are already built into the license agreements we have with the right-of-way users, but this change in the fee schedule makes it easier for the public to discern the fee. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek.
Okay, next I'd like to ask John Knutson, our Public Works and Utilities Director, to come forward.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Solid Waste Division has 6 fees that we're proposing to add, delete, or modify. The first proposal is to add a fee to allow us to supply refurbished waste containers for $30. Upon request, a resident may call and request a replacement container for reasons other than damage. In the past, we provided new containers at a cost of $60. Currently, there is no fee established to supply a refurbished container. We'd like to add the option to supply refurbished containers for that $30 cost. This cost will cover the cleaning, repair, and delivery of these refurbished cans. The second fee is an increase of a current fee from $20 to $26 when a second call out to a residence is required to replace a container when the resident failed to place this old container out as scheduled. This fee increase is necessary to recover costs charged the city for this service by our contractor. The third fee is an increase from $15 to $17.50 for an additional trash pickup for an unscheduled day. These pickups are requested in addition to the normal weekly pickups. This fee increase is also necessary to recover the costs charged the city for the service by our contractor. The next request is to delete a fee and the service for providing large roll-off containers for bulk materials. Last year, the city collected almost 12,500 tons of bulk materials. Of that, only 42 tons were collected through our city provided bulk containers. We've seen a decrease in these requests over recent years, and last year we only supplied 22 bulk bins. This is a service that can be better and more economically provided by private solid waste companies in Chandler, with 12 private companies registered for this business within the city. Our last two fee increases are related to Freon collection. This fee is to recover costs paid to a contractor responsible to remove Freon from goods either delivered directly to our recycling facility or picked up curbside through our bulk pickup service. We are proposing the fee increase from $10 to $15 for each unit, whether it be an air conditioning unit or a refrigerator or something of that sort. And that, again, is strictly a cost recovery from our contractor that comes to us to collect that Freon. That's all I have. Do you have any questions?
Council, any questions for Mr. Knudsen?
Mayor?
Councilmember Stewart.
Thank you. Thanks, John. I turned my thing on. Thanks, John. Who do we contract with for these services?
Well, for all of our waste collections, it's Waste Management. And then we have a third-party service for the Freon collection. That's not Waste Management. That's a separate, smaller company that does that.
Okay. Is there anyone else that does that? Do we have other options other than this?
As far as the Freon collection, that's a pretty specialized service. And so we've got this one group that does it today, and they've talked to us about potential cost increases. As you know, Freon is a big issue in the environment, and but as old Freon goes away, those companies that provide that service are getting kind of fewer and fewer.
We're kind of stuck with them, and the price of the service that they're going to charge us is going up.
We're always looking.
Okay.
We're always looking for other contractors, but this is the one we've got now, and we're always looking for future agreements.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knudsen.
Okay, Mayor and Council, those are all the fees being proposed to be effective July 1st, 2019. And I'll turn it back to you, Mayor, to see if there's any comments from the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Don Lang. Is there any comment from the public related to these fee increases that have just been presented? All right. Yes, please, you're welcome to come up and state your name and address. And
just real quick, my name is David Magaña, and my first question,
David, what's your address, please?
Sorry?
What's your address, please?
4924 West Boston Street.
Okay.
85226. My first question was, how long has been that this fee hasn't been increased? Has it been years, months?
Mayor, would you like me to respond? Okay.
Don Lang.
So the fees are set at different points in time. It's been quite some time since we've adjusted these individual solid waste fees. And of course, some of them with the museum is a brand new facility, so those are brand new fees being proposed, but they're going to be at different points in time. Most of them.
Any idea of longevity of?
The longevity, well,
the
the fees.
changes of what I mean. It has been 2 years, 3 years, 10 years.
Yeah, and so I guess what I could say is the majority of these are being proposed this evening are new, so those, of course, are
Okay.
just
How about
starting.
the,
But when it comes to the solid waste
Correct.
container fees, I do not have an exact date. I apologize for that, but I don't think we've done it in the last 5 years, changed the fee on containers.
for example, yeah, so I
Yes.
remember, I think I have 2 new ones in the last, I've been in Chandler for 29 years, so I only done it twice, I think. So the other one is where the money gonna go. I mean, we're gonna pay more money, hopefully it goes to the right places. For me, will be police officers or teachers, for example.
Okay.
Anybody?
Mayor, okay. So the solid waste fees go into what we call an enterprise fund. So the fees collected off of our garbage service, as well as our recycling or containers, all goes into an enterprise fund and can only be used for solid waste. So they don't get commingled with anything else. All of the other fees being proposed this evening all go into the general fund to offset the costs being provided through our general services.
Okay, and then, I don't know if it's just me, but I noticed that it's more citizens coming to Chandler, so I don't keep track of how many people we live here, but it's now it's more people, of course, it's more money to the city. So I wonder why we want to increase fees if we have more people living here. That's it. Thank you.
Go ahead again.
Okay, so I can certainly provide a response on that as well. We do charge, you're correct, we haven't had it, or we have had an increase in our population, but the fees being charged through our fee schedule typically benefit very specific groups. So if they use, for instance, if specific group of folks use our facilities, many times that adds additional operations and maintenance. And so we actually have a fee for a very specific group who is asking to use the facilities for their, could be a wedding reception or something like that. But whenever it isn't serving the public in general, we want to collect revenues directly from that individual versus using our general fund revenues, and that should pay just the operations and maintenance in general on our facilities. Does that help? Okay.
Any other comments from the public? Thank you, David, by the way. All right, council, a motion would be appropriate?
Mayor.
Councilmember Lopez.
Yes, I move for the approval of resolution number 5243, amending the citywide fee schedule relating to the community services, development services, and public works and utilities departments.
Is there a second? Councilmember McClymans. I believe, Councilmember Stewart, did you want to say something before we voted on these?
Absolutely, I'll be voting no on the fee adjustments on by line item. So on the museum services, I'll be voting no. On the recreation fitness passes, I'd like to vote yes. The department registration-based class program and activity fees, yes. The recreation program and service fees, yes. The recreation program and service fee, page 2, is yes. The land use and zoning, yes. The public works and encroachment inspection, yes. And the solid waste, no, for the record. Thank you, clerk.
And if I may, Mayor.
City Attorney.
Thank you. This is one resolution. Obviously, Councilmember Stewart's objections were noted, but really it's are you voting to approve the resolution or not approve the resolution?
So I think what you just stated is that if you vote no on this item, that's the reflection of what you're voting no on, or according to your. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Council, please vote.
Councilmember Orlando?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously with Councilmember Stewart dissenting.
Okay. I don't think that's unanimously then.
I mean, by majority.
I always think of that line from Princess Bride. What is the meaning of it? I do not think you know what that was. But I know you do. So. All right, next we have a public hearing. Public hearing 1, annexation of approximately 1.8 acres located on the northeast corner of Riggs and McQueen Roads. Council, if you recall, this was continued from the April 25th, 2019 City Council meeting. And I'd like to open our public hearing, and we have a staff presentation from Lauren Schuman.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. The public hearing this evening is from a pre-annexation development agreement that was approved before the council on February 28th of this year. The next step of that agreement was to annex into the city. The proposal is one parcel, approximately 1.8 acres, located east of the northeast corner of Riggs and McQueen Road. The property is surrounded by a single-family, undeveloped single-family residential to the north and to the east, Riggs Road to the south, and to the west, a commercial car wash for RVs and retail. The property is currently zoned commercial within Maricopa County. Our general plan designates the property as neighborhoods. After the, as part of the next process, the annexation will be on the next agenda. With initial city zoning, it will be given a commercial zoning of C2 type uses. Utilities are available in Riggs Road. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Council, any questions, discussion? All right, seeing none. Any discussion or questions from the audience on this item? All right, I would like to close this public hearing, and this will come before us again. Our public hearing number 2 is the Downtown Chandler Enhanced Municipal Services District Assessment for fiscal year 2019-2020. Again, I would like to open our public hearing and have a staff presentation from Kim Moyers.
Mayor, Council, tonight I'm here to present the fiscal year 1920 Enhanced Municipal Services District Annual Assessment. The EMSD was created in 2005 and is currently in its 14th year. The district covers 61.4 acres and over 1 million square feet of commercial space. An Enhanced Municipal Services District is formed to provide public services up and beyond typical public services elsewhere in the city. Such services include safety, beautification, marketing and promotion, and professional management and communications. These services are provided by the Downtown Chandler Community Partnership, referred to as the DCCP, through an annual contract by the city, with the city, which will come to City Council next month for possible approval. I'd like to take a moment to call out a few of the EMSD services provided by the DCCP last year. In addition to the larger special events that they have typically ran, they've started several marketing campaigns, including Channel Your Chill in the heat of the summer to remind people to come to the downtown, patios, play in patios, identifying all of the great patios in the downtown, Chandler, which invited live actors and musical performances to learn about the history of Chandler. They also took the farmers market from the traditional Thursday afternoon to Saturday mornings and included chef demonstrations and free yoga on the lawn. They did the Sipping Santas event over the holidays that drew in a large crowd. And they're getting ready to do You're Baking Me Crazy bunch crawl on June 9th, which is sure to be a favorite. They've also looked at placemaking within the downtown, and they created holiday selfie stations. And I think one of these pictures represents the mayor and his wife at the holiday, exactly what they were hoping would happen. Next, they work in team with the downtown bike team on special events, weekend nightlife activities, and concerns by restaurants and residents, making sure that we're keeping downtown safe for our community, particularly in the later hours. They've also hired the clean team, which is contracted with Block by Block to provide 35 hours of additional pickup within the downtown of trash, cigarette butts, gum, cleaning of the trash can lids, and many other responsibilities to help keep the downtown clean. This year, they've also taken some of our benches, which are almost a decade old now, and they have powder coated those and to make them look new in the downtown. The DCCP is the day-to-day, boots-on-the-ground staff that works closely with the city to make sure the downtown's running smoothly. They meet with the stakeholders for special event coordination, cross-promotions of marketing materials, and specialized meetings when issues arise. To further expand upon the EMSD process, the assessment was authorized by the property owners in the district with 100% of the assessments that are paid going to the district. The City Council is the governing body who officially enables the district, and the district must be renewed each year. The annual steps, first, the rate is set by the City Council. This rate has remained the same since its inception in 2005. The second step, which was taken by Council on March 28th, was the tentative assessment. Tonight, we're here for the public hearing and the resolution of the approval of the assessment. And we'll be back one more time in June for the contract with the DCCP to actually administer the Enhanced Municipal Services District. As a reminder, no homes, no single-family homes are part of this assessment within the EMSD. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Council, any questions or comments? All right, thank you. So clarification on item number 19, city manager or city attorney. So the dates that Ms. Moyer mentioned were June. What exactly is this resolution again, just so there's no confusion with our audience? The authorization of the assessment?
Mayor, it is the authorization of the assessment for the upcoming fiscal year. And then you'll have the contract come forward.
Okay, so the contract will come forward a little bit later, but we're voting on the assessment
Correct.
tonight. Okay, I just thought I heard something different. I wanted to make sure that was clear. Very good. So council, we have item number 19 is approving the annual assessment for the city of Chandler. Downtown Chandler Enhanced Municipal Services District. Is someone willing to make a motion for this?
Mayor?
Yes, city
Want to do
clerk.
discussion from the audience?
Thank you so much. I apologize, audience. Is there discussion from the audience on this item? Seeing none, I would then like to close this public hearing and then move to item number 19. Council, is there anyone making a resolution for this?
Mayor?
Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 5274, authorizing the 2019-2020 annual assessment for the city of Chandler, Arizona, Downtown Chandler Enhanced Municipal Services District.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second member by Councilmember Lopez. Any additional comments, questions? Seeing none, council, please vote.
Councilmember Orlando?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
The next item on our agenda is unscheduled public appearances. Is there anyone wanting to come and address the council? We're not able to engage with you, but you're certainly willing. We're able to listen to you and have staff follow up on your comments at a later time. Any unscheduled public comments, appearances? Seeing none, our next item is current events. I'll start. So it's National Nurses Week this week, and I do want to give a shout out to our Chandler health workers and nurses, particularly with the expansion at Dignity Health and banner happening in Chandler over this year and the next coming years. We do look forward to adding more healthcare related jobs to our community. We want to give a shout out to all of the nurses that have taken care of us through the years. It's also National Teachers Appreciation Week. So Chandler Unified School District was named the best school district in Arizona earlier this month. And we have our teachers who are a large part of that for us to be grateful and because of this recognition. So we want to give a thank you to our teachers. And as the school year comes to an end, we thank all the teachers, both not only Chandler, but our Kyrene districts and the others that follow, for another great year. I notice we have some Perry High School students in the back, members of the government class, I believe, and we're glad that you're here. You guys cut it close. But thank you for joining us tonight. So I had the opportunity to spend much of this week in Washington, D.C. Micah Miranda and I, Economic Development Director, and myself flew out on Sunday morning and came back last night. It was a very powerful and I thought very fortuitous time to be able to go there. We took some days specifically to meet with parties interested in who currently have buildings or ownership in Chandler businesses, and had a chance to meet with them and talk with them and listen if there was any concerns that they had, as well as speak to them about expansion possibilities. We had a chance to meet with, there was probably about 50 or 60 that were part of this economic mission, part of the Greater Phoenix Economic Council. And as part of that, we had great opportunities to talk with these. One of them was the CEO of one of our own companies in Chandler, Rogers Corporation, who, when they moved to Chandler, they were a $500 million company, and now they've expanded over the last 6-7 years to be a $3.5 billion company. They moved after having their headquarters in Rogers, Connecticut for 184 years, and they chose Chandler because of the culture and the opportunities for expansion here. And obviously, it turned out to be a very powerful and good move for them. But I think we have an economic evangelist in our community willing to tout how business-friendly Chandler is, and we look forward to engaging with him and many others that were as part of that trip. So an excellent trip, whether you see pictures of mayors, you saw pictures of us at Google, and many other companies. It was a great trip, and we look forward to following up on the opportunities that were presented us there. Lastly, I would like to remind everyone that my very first Mayor on the Move event will be May 14th at the Boys and Girls Club at Compadre Branch. This is a great opportunity for residents and businesses to share the challenge you face in your neighborhood. We will have city staff, council members, myself. There'll be presentations on our museum, our police department, and others that will give you the opportunity also for great information and opportunity to give input as well. You can RSVP online at chandleraz.gov/Mayor on the Move. And that's what I have for us tonight. Councilmember Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. It is also Small Business Week, and that's a great week in the Stewart household. And as the ambassador for the Arizona chapter of the Job Creators Network, I want to remind everybody that 75% of jobs out there are small business jobs, and that 30 million businesses employ about 60 million people across the country. So keep that in mind when you're out shopping this week. For the past decade, the small businesses have been responsible for creating those 2/3 of those net new jobs, and those empower your local economy here in Chandler. So in honor of National Small Business Week, we want to join the Chandler Chamber of Commerce, who's hosting the United States Small Business Administration Office Advocacy Group tomorrow at the Chandler Chamber office, which is just right down the road here. And this will be a rare and unique opportunity for small business owners in town here to interact with that organization, and then they can convey your needs back to Washington, D.C., or even the state capitol. Marina DeWitt is the Region 9 advocate for the office and will be in the Chandler Chamber to explain those policies and how the Small Business Association can help your organization if you're a small business owner. So come prepared with questions and for some good informational sessions. So that's all I've got today. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Stewart. Councilmember McClimans.
Mayor Harkey, I want to piggyback on National Nurses Week. As an asthmatic, I grew up going in and out of the hospital, so I have a great respect for nurses. My stepmother was a nurse, And in the fall, my daughter will be a nurse as well. She's graduating in the fall, so I'm excited for her. In addition to that, my daughter was the first graduating class at Perry High School, so go Pumas. That's all I got.
Vice Mayor Rowe.
Thank you, Mayor. Good news and bad news. I want to welcome Your Honor, David Fuller, as our new Chief Magistrate for the City of Chandler. And I want to thank Judge Traynor for his contributions, and happy that he will stick around and help make that transition smooth, as you always have done for so many good years. And then I also want to say a fond farewell to James Smith, who is taking a position in Fountain Hills. And that's all.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember Huang.
Looks like we are going to have our own fuller report very soon. Okay, nobody understand. Okay, just like to say, Waymo announced 2 days ago that they will partner with Lyft and they will deploy 10 Waymo vehicles to serve the public in the Metro Phoenix. So this could be to me, it's a very exciting news to me. And I did post to my social media and I hear a lot of response to me, a lot of question to me. So I think this is something will make Chandler to the radar. We are the capital of the autonomous vehicle of the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Wong. Councilmember Lopez.
Thank you, Mayor. So continuing on with the economic development hoorah here, there was an award given to the our economic team, our economic development team. Mike Moran, his whole team is doing an outstanding job. We just came from ribbon cutting for another company that moved here from a neighboring town that was too small for them to hold, so they had to come to a big city. We love our neighbors to the east. I'm joking, in case anybody's recording this. But I do want to say thank you to Mike Rand and his team for winning the economic, what's it called, the EDDE. It is the Economic Development Distinguished by Excellence Award. So some of the metrics behind what they did in 2018, 2019 was bringing in approximately 5,700 net new jobs, retaining 2,000 jobs that were looking around, shopping around for other places for expansion, but we're able to keep them here. Supported in office industrial projects that delivered more than 900,000 square feet. It delivered 1.5 million square feet of supported office industrial projects, and conducted more than 45 local business outreach visits, which a lot of us on the council attend along with the chamber. So a lot of these activities are outstanding, and I know it's Micah and his team got the award, but this is also edict of the whole city that we run here. It's all of the infrastructure, it's the roads, it's the support that we provide, the police and fire, all of the parks and the quality of life, that businesses come here and then they want to stay here and they want to grow here and be part of our community. So the economic development team, congratulations, but also congratulations to the entire city as we're all winners in that award. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Lopez. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things. First, I wanted to welcome David to the executive team here at the city. We look forward to working with you, and I know we'll be celebrating Judge Traynor here in the next month or so as well. Just hot off the press a bit for Mayor and Council and the public. Last week, our Chandler Fire Department was visited by a large reaccreditation team going through reaccreditation. It takes weeks, months to prepare for one of these types of visits. And they were notified, and congratulations to Chief Twiggins, that Chandler will be reaccredited. So congratulations to all of our fire department. There'll be more to come on that as we get to the end of the year and they get their certificate. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. Council, this concludes our regular City Council meeting. Welcome to our special meeting. Will include our voting on tentative budget amendments, So council, we've had opportunity to meet with staff and to have a feel of the types of things that are near and dear to our hearts. So the purpose of this special meeting is to allow council the opportunity to discuss and vote on the proposed budget amendments prior to the adoption of the fiscal year 2019-2020 tentative budget. Approved amendments will be incorporated into the tentative budget that will be presented for adoption at the May 23rd, 2019 council meeting. Council is provided with a one-time council contingency of $325,000 and an ongoing council contingency of $75,000 for budget amendments. There are sufficient funds available to approve all the amendments presented, but it does not mean that all the amendments need to be approved and that all the monies need to be spent. I do like to say that it's not a bad thing to have money to spend later on in the year, but we also have the opportunity to meet all the requests presented tonight. So proposed one-time amendments submitted total $344,000 and $500, and ongoing requests total $55,500. If all proposed amendments are adopted, there will be no remaining appropriations in the council contingency for council to use in the FY 2019-2020. So we can choose to accept all amendments in one motion, or we can vote on them individually. I'm going to give you a brief overview of each item, and then after I read all these, I'll entertain a motion, whether we care to approve all of them at once or discuss other options before you. So, use of the one-time council contingency funds. Number one is provide $30,000 to the Neighborhood Resources Department to add to the Neighborhood Grants Program funding to be used by homeowner associations and traditional neighborhoods. That was brought forward by myself. Number two, provide $30,000 for Economic Development Department for staffed recommended Smart City Innovations programming. That one also was brought forth by myself. Number three, provide $6,000 to the Neighborhood Services Department for marketing and cultural entertainment at the 25th Annual Multicultural Festival held in January 2020. This was brought forth by Councilmember Sam Wong. Number four, provide $5,000 to the Community Services Department for additional table tennis equipment and programming, also brought forth by Councilmember Sam Wong. Number five, provide $10,000 to the Police Department for a leadership training program for police officers. This was a collaborative effort brought forth by Council members Renee Lopez, Mark Stewart, and Matt Orlando. Item number six, provide $70,000 to Community Services Department for 2 lighted sand volleyball courts at Chuparosa Park. And this is brought forth by Council member Jeremy McClymans. Item number seven, provide $10,000 to the Fire Department for specialty tools for response to mid-rise buildings in Chandler. This was also brought forth by Council member Jeremy McClymans. Provide $30,000, number 8, to the Community Services Department for 2 shared lighting bocce ball courts to be placed at Tumbleweed Park. This was brought forth by Council member Matt Orlando. Number 9, provide $19,500 to the Police Department for 75 encrypted external hard drives for reviewing downloads from phones and digital media without connecting to the city network. This was brought forth by Councilmember Orlando. To provide $9,000 to the Communications and Public Affairs Department, CAPA, for a digital media field kit to produce photographs and digital use on ChandlerAZ.gov and social media. This was brought forth by Vice Mayor Terry Rowe. Number 11, provide $20,000 to the Cultural Development Department for a historic square breezeway mural. This was brought forth by Vice Mayor Terry Rowe. Number 12, provide $20,000 to the Community Services Department for expanded shade structure and concrete pad at Thudi Park. This is also brought forth by Vice Mayor Terry Rowe. Number 13, to provide $50,000 to the City Clerk Department for a blockchain voting consultant study for determining a secure online voting platform. This is brought forth by Councilmember Mark Stewart. Number 14, provide $20,000 to the Community Services Department for low water trees to be planted at a park on Arbor Day 2020. This was brought forth by Councilmember Mark Stewart. Number 15, provide $15,000 to Economic Development Department for Startup Weekend event funding to assist the local entrepreneurial community. This was brought forth by Councilmember Mark Stewart. Council, these are the 15 items that reflect our one-time council funds. We also have this next part is use of ongoing council contingency funds. Number 1, provide $5,000 to Neighborhood Services Department for marketing and a second stage for the Multicultural Festival funding by Councilmember Sam Wong. Number 2, to provide $18,000 to the Police Department for the annual licensing of the Gray Key device software to be used for criminal investigations. This was brought forth by Councilmember Rene Lopez and Councilmember Matt Orlando. Number 3, to provide $2,500 to Police Department for a leadership training program for police officers. This was brought forth by Council members Rene Lopez, Mark Stewart, and Matt Orlando. Number 4, provide $18,000 to the Police Department for search engines to access the Current Virtual Crime Center, which provides information within public law record databases spanning over 700 participating agencies. That amount is $16,200, and a TLO XP analyst product used in locating people of interest, $1,800. And this was brought forth by Councilmember Matt Orlando. And lastly, provide $12,000 to Community Services Department for Read On Chandler programming, which allows preschool children to learn how to read. This is also brought forth by Councilmember Matt Orlando. Council, do you have questions or comments on any of these?
I do have some.
Councilmember Wong.
I do have some question on item 13. The Councilmember Mark Stewart wants to expand a little bit.
Absolutely. Mayor.
Councilmember Stewart.
Sorry. Yes, to be clear, the blockchain consultancy is actually different from that. The blockchain parallel path voting events so that we can start looking at the secure usage of blockchain to hopefully, so down the road in a few years, if we can be in keeping in line with our brand as a tech hub, and using that technology to allow people to vote with their phones and to use the blockchain technology to do so, we might be able to encourage, and maybe it's 8, 12 years down the road, but we might be able to encourage more involvement. People can just use their phones from their couch to be able to vote versus having to utilize the tools that we use today. It's kind of an archaic form of voting. It is traditional, but the idea is to move down that direction and use technology to, yeah. Does that make sense?
So vote in our election?
So the idea is, and I'll lean on Dean here a little bit. The idea is, let's say, for example, we have a general plan vote, which usually passes at about 80%. To parallel path, the vote would not be, it would not count as a legal vote, but it's something that we could prove if the two things marry up, that we could prove the blockchain technology actually is a useful tool and works, and we would eventually continue to move on to evolve, look for state grants and things like that, to continue moving down that path.
So it's to test an alternative voting mechanism that would not be used in this particular election the first time, but it really would be to collect data to see how does it mirror what we currently do.
Thank you.
Okay.
Parallel pathway. So this would be in conjunction with the traditional voting, but again, to prove the technology.
Well said. And it is in its infancy. We are looking for help, consulting, not something that I understand how blockchain works. I have no idea how to implement present that. Dana, do you want to make any comments?
City Clerk.
Yes, it's the same thing. I understand how elections work and, same thing, not quite sure how blockchain works, but this would be a method to kind of a proof of concept to see what would have to happen to be able to do this. And, the idea of running maybe a percentage or a percentage of voters and do kind of a parallel and see how that data lines up with a traditional voting, or traditional election. And it is really best to start with a yes/no vote if you have, that kind of an election.
Councilmember Stewart.
One last comment. We hear all the time, we hear about voter fraud, we hear about voter suppression, we hear about voter challenges. And it's a big problem in the United States, not just federally at the state level or the local level, but it's a real issue. And something like blockchain can fix that. Almost everybody has a phone today. If they don't, we can still use traditional methods. But I think over time, this could be a really good study and a really good event for us that might be something that could be used nationwide. And I think Chandler could be the tip of the spear on something like this. And I think this is a minimal investment to continue with the brand messaging of the technology hub.
Okay. Councilmember Huang.
So, well, I would like to support it, but to be honest with you, I really have no idea about what this is. That's why I asked question.
Sure.
And so, if this budget being passed, I would like to ask the clerk will give us a report sometime appropriate.
Yes, Councilmember Wong. What the intention was is, if this were to pass, then to come up with an idea on how we move forward, bring that to the council's real work session, to make sure that everyone's on the same page on the best way to approach this and go about it.
Thank you.
All right. Additional questions? Additional questions on other items on the consent or ongoing?
Yeah.
Councilmember Stewart.
I'd like to make a comment on number 14. The trees are to be used hopefully for projects, and I'll work with community services on that. I want to create shade for roadways. One of the biggest causes for heat is the concrete in the city, and we're seeing temperatures rise, and one thing that really solves that problem with clean air is trees. So if we can get the community behind rallying and get volunteers to come out and spend Arbor Day planting trees, and maybe that's in parks, and maybe that's in places with a lot of concrete. That's the purpose of this, and maybe we'll get something started for the next 20 years and cool our city off by a degree or two.
Okay. Other comments on the one-time or ongoing? Council, how would you like to yes, Councilmember Lopez.
I was going to recommend that we do a all inclusive vote for all items, one times and recurring. That'd be acceptable.
Would you like to make a motion?
So therefore, I would like to move that we approve all 15 one-time expenditures and 5 ongoing expenditures listed in our special meeting fiscal year 2019 to 2020 proposed budget amendments.
Okay. We've got a motion and a second. Does that language suffice? Okay, thank you, City Attorney. Council vote. I don't know if this is working. Yeah.
Mayor?
Councilmember Orlando.
Yeah, I lost the audio for a minute there. Was the motion to approve all items?
Everyone except the ones that you had forwarded.
Great, that's what I wanted to clarify. Thank you, Mayor.
No, it was to approve all items, Councilmember Orlando.
Thank you. I know there was some discussion on one of the items. I didn't know if that was included. That's all. Thank you.
Great. Good question. Is your button on? Okay. Councilmember Orlando, you're being asked to vote?
Yes.
no, I pressed the wrong button. Yeah, yes.
All right. Thank you, Council. Council, this concludes our special meeting of tentative budget amendments.